Google gobble, one of us, Google gobble, Google gobble. Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and today we are really going back to the past, to the year 1932, before the old Hollywood has even implemented its self-regulating motion picture production code, which basically included some censorship guidelines that should, very simplified, emphasize on good taste. Well, the movie I want to talk about got heavily cut nonetheless, even without the code being in action while it was produced, but it would have definitely never been made after it, and it's a wonder it saw the light of day anyway. The film is Tod Browning's Freaks, later also known as Forbidden Love or Nature's Mistakes. I'm not exaggerating when I call it one of the most, if not the most notorious and strangest motion pictures of a big studio in the history of American cinema. It only runs for 64 minutes, though the original version apparently was roughly 90 minutes long before several scenes were cut due to its shocking nature. We should consider ourselves to be very happy that at least a shorter version still exists, because this would have almost become one of those lost films where no longer any print exists. But this film outlived its initial controversy and was rediscovered not just once, but several times throughout the years. Freaks takes the audience into the world of the circus, into the microcosmos of sideshow performers, a form of entertainment that doesn't exist in this way any longer, and mostly with good reasons. The film opens with a small prologue in which a sideshow barker tries to lure in new customers to the show. He has a box in front of him in which some kind of horror is hidden, and he explains that it once was a beautiful and talented trapeze artist. We then cut to a circus tent in which Cleopatra, played by Olga Baklonova, is performing, not just under the eyes of the applauding public, but also those of Hans, a little person who has a big crush on her. Hans is played by Harry Earls, and his girlfriend in the movie, Frida, is played by his real-life sister Daisy Earls. They had more siblings who were also affected by dwarfism and who performed quite successfully under the name the Doll Family. So the basic story is that Hans and Cleopatra end up marrying, but she hasn't any true affection for him and is only doing so because of his rich inheritance. Once he and the other sideshow performers find out, they take revenge. Now, speaking about the other sideshow performers, I think it was quite special that a little person was more or less one of the main protagonists in a big studio production. But Freaks definitely qualifies as an ensemble movie, and once you see the other members, you know why the film was very different than anything else. While the story slowly moves forward, the film's perspective jumps around this small circus world, and its inhabitants are so fascinating that it's often enough to just witness them, even though they don't always add that much to the overall plot. But what they do is establishing this unique community of outsiders, and the film's way of showing or exposing them to the public is what shocked the people in the past, and I'm pretty sure it's not really shocking today, but still extremely fascinating. There are so many different freaks to be found, and I want to use the word in the most positive way, because they are the ones we, or at least I, clearly sympathize with. There's Peter Robinson, aka the Human Skeleton, Olga Roderick, the Bearded Lady, the Armless Girls or Armless Wonders, Frances O'Connor and Martha Morris, the conjoined twins Daisy and Violet Hilton, a group of microcephalics referred to as pinheads. There's the intersex Josephine Joseph, Johnny Egg, the Legless Man, Prince Randian, the Human Torso, and a few more. And if it's not clear, all of those people are really the way they appear on screen. There are no special effects involved here. Now, studio head Louis B. Mayer was horrified when he saw the cast, and he tried to have the picture shut down. But it was Irving Thalberg, MGM's chief of production and also known as Boy Wonder, who kept insisting on going forward with the film. He was also the one who wanted the short story Spurs being made into the screenplay for this film, and his wish was to make a truly horrible film. Universal just had two big horror hits with Dracula and Frankenstein the year before, and I guess Thalberg wanted his very own monster film to shock the audience. And Tod Browning seemed to be the right man to direct because he was the one who directed Dracula for Universal, and he also did a 1925 silent movie, The Unholy Three, for MGM, which, like Freaks, was based on a story by Todd Robbins, and which also featured 3 sideshow performers. Browning worked at a circus himself when he was young, and he had a strong connection to that world. But where Dracula and Frankenstein featured monsters in makeup, Freaks was the real deal, and people weren't prepared for what was shown. One should also point out that back in the day, the name of the studio was much more connected to a certain kind of film, and MGM was mostly known for its glamour and sophistication at that time, which makes this match even more perfect. Apparently the test screening was disastrous and Thalberg decided to recut the picture immediately. But it was already too late to do so before the world premiere, which was held on January 28, 1932 at the 3,000-seat Fox Theater in San Diego. As far as the sources go, this was the only venue where the uncut 90-minute version of Freaks was shown, which ironically made it a big hit there. The rest got only the butt-shot and now only remaining version. On top of that, it was banned in a number of states and cities in the US, as well as in all of Australia and the UK. There was also a new end scene added, and when you check out the film today, it will probably be there, and it's very easy to see that it was tacked on. Now one has to ask why all the uproar and if the movie is really all that shocking, and how the film was read by the audience at that time. It's a bit hard to analyze that 80 years later, but it seems that people were simply shocked by the sight of those people because their appearances, their differences, their bodies, it all offended the perception of what was in good taste and what not, what was socially acceptable and what shouldn't be shown. There were certainly also people who thought it simply wasn't right to expose these people and make a profitable horror film on their shoulders, but I honestly think they were in a minority. And of course the ending was quite gruesome and even today very impressively filmed. But when I watch the film today, and it has many fans for a reason and is celebrated as a cult classic, I see a film that's deeply human and where the supposedly normal people are the monsters and the socially outcast are the ones who show affection and love. I see a film that's rooting for being different and being treated equally. And of course I also see a film that's very unique and simply unforgettable. One shouldn't expect much horror, this is more in line with a tragic drama, and even though the acting skills aren't really comparable to big Hollywood names of the time, I think it only adds to its own charm and I full-heartedly recommend this beautiful gem of a movie. So in German I'd say, Freaks ist ein Film, wie es ihn nur einmal gibt und völlig zu Recht ein absoluter Kultklassiker. Er zelebriert das Anderssein und entführt uns in eine Welt, die es so schon lange nicht mehr gibt. I give Freaks 9 out of 10. It's more like 8.9, but I don't do that. Alright, that's it. Like always, comment below and let me know what you think about Freaks. You can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram simply at JimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like, and make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.